Well, hello, my friend. My name is Terry Petrovick. In this week's episode of Small Business Weekly, you're going to learn some skills that you need to revolutionize your local business. So stay tuned for some game-changing information. Well, hello, my friend. My name is Terry Petrovick. I'm the president of Team Wow Media, where we help business owners collect client testimonial videos in just 2 simple clicks. And we help established business owners book anywhere from 40 to 500 new sales opportunities in 90 days or less without running any paid ads. I'm also the creator of Wilco Pages. It's a Facebook community designed for business owners, entrepreneurs, and sales reps. We have over 1,100 people in that group who serve Williamson County. So if you do, please join the conversation. You'll see some links later that you can join. And it's an amazing place for you to network and find some of your ideal clients and referral partners. Also, the host of Small Business Weekly, where I strategically reach out to leaders in our community who have experience, have wisdom, share tips and strategies and insights to help you grow your business as well as your quality of life. Now, today, my friend, we're going to be focusing on growing your business, cultivating community ties, and how relationship marketing plays into this combination, this formula, if you will. My guest today is a dynamo in Round Rock, Texas. She is a masterful provider. She spent a lot of time in the healthcare world. She's taken what she's learned from that space into the world of small business and helping people in Round Rock grow their business. She's been in Round Rock over 40 years. She combines her love for the people in the community and her servant's mindset to putting it all together with a very, very unique approach to help people succeed in business. My guest today is Kristin Stephen. Kristin, thanks so much for joining us on Small Business Weekly. Ideas worth sharing.
Sure.
Well,
Thanks for having me.
I know that you have a ton of ideas to share. You have moved the needle on lots of different levels for yourself and the community. Share a little bit of your background, if you would, Kristin, on how did you get to where you are today?
Sure. So, growing up, I was always taught to give back to your community, get involved, just be a part of the community. And I started out, I thought I wanted to be an accountant when I went to college. And if you can imagine, I can't add 5 plus 5 very well. So that didn't last very long. And I realized that I really wanted to help people, give back to the community, help people, particularly kids. So I changed 180 degrees, went a different direction, and went to school to become a speech pathologist. So I went to school, I graduated from UT, got my master's degree, and came back and got a job in healthcare. So I was a pediatric speech pathologist for over 20 years, saw hundreds of kids. And the ones that always, the ones that always were special, the ones I always remembered above and beyond were those ones that either, their parent came to me, gave me a call and said, "Hey, so-and-so gave me your name. I sought you out. I wanted to come to you." Or the ones that left and said, "I'm going to go tell 10 friends about you." So it was always about that relationship. That obviously the patient was always the client or their family. And then we also had the customers too, the other therapists that we worked with, or the school district, or any other doctors, any other professionals. So it really set me up for understanding the model of relationship building and relationship nurturing in practice. I love that job. That is what I went to school to do, was to help kids in healthcare. And I really enjoyed it. But something happened about 3 years ago. I got elected to the Round Rock City Council. And as much as I loved my job in healthcare, it was really hard to do both, to have clients, see clients daily, and then have to, have things to do with the city. And I was fortunate to win and get on the city council, but it gave me a different set of responsibilities. And if you remember a couple years ago, we had this thing called COVID, and we did not shut down. In rehabilitation, we stayed open. We kept our doors open. We did kind of what we're doing now, virtual. It was virtual therapy sessions, which were really, really difficult. And I realized I kind of needed a break from that, do something different. And I wanted to jump into this new role on city council. And it's really funny, but I kind of pondered it for a little while and thought maybe I'd go into like the insurance side of it, work from home, um, and applied for a job, but really knew that sitting in front of a computer for 40 hours a week was not going to still get me to where I wanted to be. And I applied for a job and I didn't get it. Felt defeated because I thought I was, the expert at what I was doing, and didn't get the job. And I was sitting there and I opened up my computer and I just went to Google. I was going to search something, and literally the first thing that came up, it was like it was reading my mind, was real estate. And it was something my husband had kind of talked to me about just over the years, just getting involved in different things. And I thought, I think that's the flexibility I'm looking for. I think it's going to be the way to still give back, still work with people, but in a different environment, in a set your own schedule kind of environment, and working with adults instead of kids. So I kept my job, but went to real estate school on the side, kind of thinking this is going to help me determine if it's really what I wanted to do or not. And sure enough, I was able to find a brokerage and find a broker that understood and appreciated what I did for 20 years in healthcare, and had a business model that fit perfectly with the skills that I had already obtained in healthcare. So that's kind of
That's
the long story of how it got me here.
no, that's wonderful. And I did know that you were in real estate. I didn't know how actually you got there, but I can only imagine that in working with the kids, you have to listen to what is being said, but also what is not being said. And as
True.
you work with people when they're looking to buy or sell a house, some of those same principles have got to be the same, because at the end of the day, it's human psychology. It's about dealing with people. And you just have a gift, I think, of connecting with people. I picked up on
Thank
that
you.
really the first time that you and I had a conversation, and it's great. So let me ask you this question. You've been in Round Rock for a long time, and your parents and the way you were raised taught you about giving back, and that has led you really to become an influencer in our community. Is there any um, tips that you can give people on how you integrate individual values, community values, and marketing your business?
Oh, that's a really good question. I think when you start that business, it's you have to figure out what kind of person you are. Are you a transactional person, or are you a relationship driven person? And I am. Just when you live in the same community all of your life, when you have the same friends and you see them grow up and then have families, and their parents become older, it's all about those relationships. And so this business model fit really good for it was a good fit for me to have those relationships. And I think that the involvement in the community, and it doesn't have to be at my level, it doesn't have to be on a city council level, but just getting involved in your community helps you know the community, and it gives you credibility. And I think that's, although it took me a little while to get my name, it's a transition for Kristin Stevens, speech pathologist, to Kristin Stevens, realtor. It took a little while, but I really had to work on letting people know that I understand this community. I'm more than just the city council person or the speech pathologist, but I understand the community. This is my home, and I can provide that, for lack of a better word, that street credibility for the community, whether it's giving somebody a tip on a good restaurant or telling them, where to go look to find information on developments that are coming into the community, changes that are being made, roads, people, these are things that people want to know that align, that I think that the profession of real estate and city council are aligning very nicely together. It's not insider information, it's public knowledge, but sometimes just through having that experience, you have an easier way to find that information and guide other people to it. So that's been a really good, I think, just the credibility of being in the community, having the involvement in the community definitely helps that for sure. And just, I think that would be that piece of information that I would give to anybody getting started, whether it is in real estate or in anything, in banking or even in speech. I got really involved in the community when I was doing speech pathology, really involved in that community, understanding that the children's hospital community, understanding the outpatient community. And that's where I am right now too, is just trying to be of value, trying to make myself a valuable commodity and a valuable service by having that information and sharing that information. And the only way that you can do that is to get involved. Very
Yeah.
small things or very large things.
So, if what I'm hearing, correct me if I'm wrong, but for somebody like myself who is maybe relatively new to the area, I've been in Round Rock 3 years, and we have a new granddaughter here, so that's why we relocated.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yes.
you, thank you. Very exciting. How does somebody, whether it be somebody like myself or somebody that maybe has been around 5-10 years and they have maybe a restaurant or some type of other business, how do they best get involved and build that business based on relationship?
Sure. I think you take your business, and then I think you have to take what you're interested in, right? There's something for everyone out in the community, whether it's helping with pets or working with children or the homeless or the veterans. There, especially in our area, there are so many organizations and activities that you can get involved in. And you don't necessarily, if service isn't your area that you're excited in, then go to a community event, go to a park where there might be having a concert or a picnic. All of these areas in Central Texas are really good about putting on community events. And you just have to get out there and go. Get out just in your neighborhood, walk your neighborhood, talk to your neighbors. That's the best. I feel like when I say these things, they're kind of common sense, but for a couple years we lost that. And I'm finding more and more in society, especially having kids that are teenagers and getting into early adulthood, what made common sense to us is not so common sense anymore. Just how to be a part of your community, how to get out into your community, how to make those connections. And the more that you do make those connections, the more that you're going to organically grow your business. You're a commodity, you're seen out in the community, you're seen as providing a valuable resource in your community. And that's going to definitely help drive that business.
What were some of the most challenging things that you had to overcome in your journey, and maybe what you have observed other people, the challenges that they have, and how do they overcome them, or what kind of tips do you have for overcoming some of those challenges?
Sure. So I would say probably the biggest challenge for me personally was the complete shift, because for such a long time I was, even to my friends, my kids got an ear infection, chronic ear infections. Who should I go to? What should I do? My kid has trouble with their L's and their R's. Who should I go to? What should I do? My kid needs services in school and they're not getting served to my level of satisfaction. What should I do? So I was the resource. I still am the resource. And it's really funny. I'm going to pivot for just a minute talking about relationships. I was doing a closing with some clients the other day, and their son had an ear infection, and they had to bring him to the closing. And I was able to pull out my toolbox of, working with kids for 20 years and keep him completely entertained and do a little free speech therapy on the side. But it's just that complete shift. And it took for me what I thought was an eternity, but I was told over and over, your first year is going to be crickets, because you're establishing your credibility, right? And you establish that credibility through being consistent. So the things that I do with my clients and my database on a monthly basis stay consistent. Every January, you're going to get a market report. Every February, you're going to get a neighborhood appreciation report. Every March, you're going to get a handwritten card, and that's going to be consistent. So year one was very slow. Year two, really, that hit the gas. Um, and in hitting the gas, I still had to be consistent. I was able to show my wins and my sales and all the clients that I helped, but I still had to be consistent with the things that I was doing to show my database, to show my clients, to show my friends that I'm here to serve them. I have that knowledge, and I'm going to provide something of value to them. So
That
just keeping that consistency.
Yeah, that is wonderful advice. Consistency is so important on how you show up, not, when you're trying to quote unquote, make a sale or get a deal, but it's who you are
Right.
every day, day in and day out, that makes a big difference. Well, you have shared some amazing tips. I certainly appreciate that. What's next for you, Kristin?
Oh, well, I'm going to continue to grow this business because it's something that I love. It's different every day. I love this flexibility that it gives me. And it has allowed me to do the other passion that I have, which is public service. And so I just announced last week that I'm running for reelection. My term is up in May. So I filed last week. I will be running again for Round Rock City Council, Place 5.
So I would be remiss, Kristin, if I stopped this conversation and didn't ask you a little bit about your father and the impact that he has made on this community. I had the pleasure of sitting next to him at lunch, and he was bragging about you and I believe he had the same seat in city council as you did. Is that right?
He did. He actually started City Council Place 5 when I was in, I think, third grade. He was a Dallas boy, and being from a big city, it just that desire to give back and to be a part of the community was not something that he grew up with. But he came to a small town. Roanoke, believe it or not, was a small town back in the day, back in the late 70s, just a couple thousand people. And he had that desire to get involved and give back. And he instilled that in myself. He instilled it in my brother. Ironically, my brother actually works for a home health company in Oregon. He was recruited from this by the owner of the company, who saw his work and saw his passion to get involved in helping people with special needs. So they've obviously instilled that in both of us. But he was on the city council, then he became the mayor, and he finished his mayorship right right when I was in college. And then he told me, and he likes to, it's the wow factor. I think he likes to surprise me with it. But the day that I got inaugurated and took my oath was 20 years to the day that he left his seat. He was finished. So he has a knack. It's a gift that I try to remember. I try to remember something about my clients every time, whether it's how their son did at a baseball game, or if their car was having car trouble, were they able to get it fixed? But my dad has a knack for remembering your name, remembering your kids' names, and remembering something about you. And it could be 10, 15 years that he goes without seeing you, but he will remember, and he will remember every detail. So he's a pretty special guy for sure.
Yeah, that is relationship marketing at its best without social media, right?
Absolutely. I don't know how he does it. I mean, he could do a commercial for a memory company probably, but it's pretty amazing. And my husband didn't believe us, but it's a running joke that we can be in wherever, Mexico or New York or Alaska, even on a cruise ship, and he's going to run into somebody he knows. He's going to remember their name and he's going to remember their kids' names, and he'll have some fact about him that he asks about. And it's a game we play now, but it's pretty amazing.
Well, I just wanted to say, I think your dad is amazing. I think you're amazing. Thank you so much for spending your valuable time. I
Thank
know you
you.
got a busy, busy schedule. Any last words you'd like to share?
Get involved. Just get involved in your community. It can be as little as, like I said, going to a community event, or it can be as big as serving on your chamber of commerce or your city council. But get involved. Know your neighbors. Know your community. Um, it's the only way that you can make it a better place.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kristen. My friend watching, if you got any value out of today's conversation, let us know. If you have any questions for Kristen, feel free to reach out with her. You probably have seen her contact information at the bottom of the screen as mine. I'll include it above or below this post when you see this video. If you know somebody who's a business owner, whether they've been around for a while or they are just starting, share this video with them. There's some wisdom like you would not believe in what Kristen shared that you probably learned from her dad, by the way, Mr. Charlie Culpepper, the former mayor of Round Rock, Texas. So remember this, my friend. You have a choice. Make it a better than terrific day and a prosperous one, because you, my friend, yes, you absolutely deserve it. Until next time, bye bye for now.